there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Sharam Mascarenhas.
Good evening, I'm Lakshit Singha. To start off, we take a quick look at the top stories for tonight.
The Met Department states the deep depression has developed into a cyclonic storm. The Health Minister says that no information on the COVID-19 disease has been concealed. 56% of the patients have recovered fully. Increased transportation facilities made available for public and private sector employees returning for work tomorrow.
On to the stories in detail now, starting off with local news. The Met Department states the atmospheric depression which developed over the southeast sea areas of the Bay of Bengal has developed into a cyclonic storm. Thereby, due to the effects of this system, showers or thunder showers could occur in the southwestern parts of the island and the western Sabaragamuwa central and southern provinces. Rainfall exceeding 150 millimeters is expected in some areas. This deep depression system, as at 2:30 a.m. today, was located at 610 kilometers northeast of Trincomalee at 11.3 degrees latitude and 86.1 degrees longitude. The system is focused to develop into a severe cyclonic storm within the next 12 hours. The further forecast is that it would further develop into an extremely severe cyclonic storm by tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, it is forecast to move into the northwestern direction today and a northeasterly direction tomorrow and the day after, positioning its trajectory towards the western coastal areas of the Bay of Bengal. Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipalli, said the National Building Research Organisation states
southwestern part of Sri Lanka, especially the southern province and the western and the central province and the Sabaragamuwa as well. So then NBRO that they have extended their warning of the possibility of landslide if rain continues in next 24 hours. So that will cover the southwestern part, especially in the Kandy, Nuwara and Kegol district and the Matala district as well, and Kurunegala, so Ratnapura and the Kalutara, the Kalambur Call and Matara, so that people who are living with the risk areas and they are the areas which are identified by the NBRO as the risk area, so they need to pay a lot of attention over the signs of the landslide. If any signs being observed, they need to move from these locations. So slanting trees, the cracks on the ground and sudden springs and the cracks of the walls could be some kind of sign, and that is very important to be observed. We have alerted all the communities prior to this situation, and the people know where to go and the safe centers. So special plan with the COVID-19 outbreak, we have launched that plan with the health sector and the technical agencies and the relief services, as well as the district secretaries and the district disaster management units. So that plan is active, and the situation is normalizing right now in the country, especially prevailed the last 2 weeks, 2 days time. And the fishermen still advised by the Met Department not to venture to these areas, so they have to wait until the further notice. And especially the people has to be very vigilant with that prevailing situation, because Met Department is expecting more rain tonight as well as tomorrow onwards. The 117 call center number is completely open for all the disaster management activities, and our military and the police and the search and rescue teams with equipments been deployed in southwestern part of the country, and so they are standby with the equipments to face any kind of disaster situation. Disaster Management Center is standby to cope with any kind of disaster situations in the country. Along with the COVID-19 outbreak, we have diverted all our staff and resources and the funds and everything to combat the natural disasters and man-made and these kind of outbreak situations as well.
The National Building Research Organisation states the landslide warnings announced for 10 districts including the Gaul, Galotara, Ratnapura, Kegol, Kandy, Matale and Noreli districts has been extended. The Department of Irrigation states the minor flood level which prevailed in the Maoya Anicut has receded as the areas upstream have not experienced a considerable rainfall over the past 24 hours. Thereby, the Met Department states the flood warning issued yesterday under Category Number 1 has been lifted. The showery condition experienced in the Gaul district is also subsiding. The water level of the Ginganga had also reportedly receded by this morning. Fishermen in Gaul, Devata and Ratgama areas refrain from engaging in fishing activities today as well. Dry rations were distributed under the patronage of Minister Ramesh Patirana for families in Magalle area of Gaul who were adversely affected by the heavy rains. Thereby, parcels of dry rations were distributed amongst 1,500 persons in the area, including Palapitia, Bandarnaika Place and Makuluwa. Fishermen in the Batticaloa district have also stopped going out to sea due to the inclement weather, as roughness at sea were observed over the past few days due to strong winds. Strong winds which surpassed Valikanda, a new village in Polonnaru over the past few days have resulted in 21 houses sustaining damages. Assistant Director of the Polonnaru Disaster Management Unit, Upulnana Kara, says steps have been taken to grant relief to the affected persons. Sabaragama Provincial Governor Tikiriko Bakaduwa today instructed the relevant officials to grant relief immediately for 562 families adversely affected by torrential rains experienced in the Kegol district today. The governor also paid his last respect to those who lost their lives. The government has paid a sum of 250,000 rupees for the funeral expenses.
The police have arrested 56,326 curfew violators and seized 15,490 vehicles so far. Meanwhile, transportation facilities have been made available for public and private sector employees heading for Colombo tomorrow. Curfew was imposed as a measure to control the spread of the coronavirus. Thereby, the police received the support of the Tri-Forces when imposing curfew regulations. The police stayed during the 24-hour period from 6 a.m. yesterday to 6 a.m. today. 620 curfew violators have been arrested, whilst the number of seized vehicles has been 274. The police headquarters states legal action has been taken against 13,556 curfew violators and 5,221 of them have been penalized. Curfew is in force island-wide with effect from 8 p.m. yesterday until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Thereafter, curfew will be in force until Saturday the 23rd of May from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. However, steps have been taken to have curfew in place in the Colombo and Gampaha districts until further notice. Meanwhile, patrols are continuing to arrest curfew violators. DIG Ajit Rohana said tomorrow residents of the Colombo and Gampaha districts can exit their homes according to the last digit of their national identity card number. However, the DIG explained when out of homes, individuals are permitted to only visit trade stores that are within walking distance. He further explained travelling in vehicles is not allowed except for those heading for work or returning home after work. He further stated public transportation services can be used by those heading for work and they can also travel by three-wheelers and hired vehicles. However, the DIG stated three-wheelers and other hired vehicles cannot be used for other passenger transport purposes. DIG Ajit Rohana also stated that the police will be alert with regard to those arriving in the Colombo and Gampaha districts. He explained their health behavioral patterns will be monitored through CCTV recordings and intelligence officers will also be deployed. The DIG says upon the information obtained from these sources, special operations and raids will be carried out. The measures taken to restore economic activity and day-to-day public life activities whilst curfew is in place in the Colombo and Gampaha districts was underway since last Monday and will be taken forward from tomorrow. Meanwhile, 19 train turns will operate tomorrow to facilitate public and private sector employees heading for Colombo from outstation areas. The Department of Railways has received over 11,500 bookings from passengers. 14 trains will head for Colombo Fort from Kandy, Polgahavela, Mirigama, Veyangoda, Gampaha, Ragama, Maho Junction, Chilo, Homagama, Kosgama, Padukka, Avisavella and Kalutara. 5 trains will head for Maradana from Moratoa, Aludgama, Panadura, Gaul and Beliata. These trains are being operated to facilitate transportation to public and private sector employees. Special bus services will also be operational to transport passengers arriving in Colombo by train to their respective places of work. So tomorrow when you report to work and also when you leave to head back home, make sure to adhere to health guidelines. Remember to wash and sanitize your hands regularly and also bear in mind to keep away from crowded places.
The Ministry of Health states no COVID-19 positive patients have been reported in the country within the course of the day so far. Meanwhile, 18 COVID-19 patients who fully recovered were discharged from their respective hospitals today. 413 patients are undergoing further treatment at the hospitals. The total number of patients to have fully recovered from COVID-19 currently stands at 538, which is 56%. 43% are undergoing further in-house treatment at hospitals. The COVID-19 death rate in the country is at 0.93%. 25 COVID-19 positive persons were detected yesterday. 23 of them are security personnel, whilst one individual was detected from the Miankulam quarantine facility and the other is an individual undergoing quarantine at the Kandakadu quarantine facility after returning from India. Meanwhile, Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi paid homage at the Sri Dalada Maligava today. Thereafter, the minister called on the chief incumbents of the Malwatu Askiriya and Ramanya chapters and briefed the prelates on the steps taken by the government to control the COVID-19 disease. She said the government is releasing all data, therefore it has no necessity to conceal information. She also stated that it is the medical units that confirms the cause of the death of a patient. Minister Vanyarachi requested any individual who has contracted the disease or any individual who suffers symptoms similar to this disease to visit the nearest main hospital of the district or even the closest hospital to seek medical attention. Obtaining biosamples from individuals who reside in crowded areas in Colombo municipality is underway continuously. Chief Medical Officer of the Colombo Municipal Council, Dr. Ruan Vijayamuni, noted the last patient to test positive for COVID-19 in the Colombo city was detected on the 1st of May. He observed over the past 17 days, no active COVID-19 patients have been reported. Dr. Vijayamuni stated 3,153 PCR tests have been carried out so far, especially in areas where COVID-19 positive patients were detected, such as Bandaranaike Mavatha, Dabare Mavatha, Hatavatta or 60th Watta and Navagampura, and also at random from residents around the areas. He further stated PCR testing were also conducted on drivers, conductors and three-wheel drivers at the premises of the central bus stand. Dr. Vijayamuni notes, through these investigations it has been confirmed that the evidence has so far not been found pointing to a community-based transmission stage of the disease. At the Pompey Madhua Quarantine Centre at Vaunia, 31 individuals from the Navalapiti and Savanagala areas completed their quarantine and were discharged today. A group of 7 individuals at Busa Quarantine Centre run by the Navy also completed their quarantine and returned to their homes yesterday and today. 72 persons are currently undergoing quarantine at this facility.
Today is World Telecommunications Day. The United Nations has declared this day emphasizing on the deployment of the information and telecommunication technologies in achieving sustainable development goals. This year's theme is Connect 2030 Information Telecommunication Technology for Sustainable Development Goals. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has also extended his good wishes for World Telecommunications Day. Under the topic of development, prosperity, economic opportunities, environmental conservation and widespread social well-being are focused on in the efforts towards sustainable development. The President states by this form of development, the requirements of the present generation are met in a manner in which the rights of the future generation are not compromised when meeting their requirements. In this context, the information and communication sector is an excellent partner in achieving sustainable development goals. Global goals and their strategic objectives cover 5 areas, which are growth, participation, sustainability, innovations and partnerships. The statement issued by the President notes that the International Telecommunications Association has rendered an indispensable service in achieving these goals. Extending his felicitation to mark the 155th anniversary of the International Telecommunications Association, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa wishes for the success of the theme of the 2020 World Telecommunications Day. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, issuing a felicitation message, states it is of significance to discuss the feasibility of information and communication technology to bridge the gap in the service expansion of information and communication and assure socio-economic and environmental sustainability. The Premier notes the International Telecommunications Association has rendered an indispensable service to upgrade telecommunication services globally over the years. He notes Sri Lanka, as a partner in successfully implementing the 2030 connectivity agenda, needs to fulfill its obligation in the exercise by contributing in the sharing of experience and specialized knowledge. The Premier wishes the 2020 World Telecommunications Day to be marked productively.
Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says construction work of Sri Lanka's largest cricket stadium is expected to reach completion by 2024. The minister expressed his views this morning during an observation visit to Diagam area in Homagam, at which the stadium is to be constructed. This is the largest stadium to be constructed in Colombo district and in Sri Lanka after 1981. The stadium can accommodate around 40,000 spectators at a time when a cricket match is played. This will be the only stadium with a 40,000 seating pavilion. Sri Lanka Cricket states this stadium, which is being constructed in a land area of 25 acres, will conform to standards mandated by the International Cricket Council. The Sri Lanka Cricket Institute is funding the construction. As the highway network in the country expands, the stadium can be reached from any area in the country within 2 or 3 hours. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says such development is a response to the political victimization carried out by the previous regime. The minister said the stadium will be transformed into the largest stadium in the country that is being designed according to international standards to host day and night matches. The minister said the construction work will commence in the near future. He also said that this international cricket stadium and a university for sports will be established in this premises as an honourable response to political revenge and disrespect towards the political leadership and leadership of other nations.
Meanwhile, Defence Secretary retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne says donating a day's pay to the government is not relevant to the police, Triforce and civil security personnel. The proposal on donating a day's pay was proposed to ease the financial constraints faced due to the coronavirus. Content was posted on social media recently that the Defence Ministry has ordered a deduction of a day's pay from police and Triforce personnel. The Defence Secretary rejects this claim. This request will not be relevant to Army, Navy, Air Force and Civil Security Department personnel. In order to ease the financial constraints faced by the government due to the COVID-19 pandemic, last week the Presidential Secretary requested of public sector employees to donate their full salary for the month of May or a day's pay to the Widows and Orphans Pension Fund.
A puja is being conducted at the Hokandara Dakshinarama at Hokandara South to invoke merits on the war heroes who lost their lives in the heroic battle to deliver the nation from terrorism. This meritorious act has been themed as Ranaviru Krutaguna Pradeepa, illuminations in appreciation of war heroes. Lamps are being lit over a period of 7 days, with a lamp dedicated for each of the 29,000 security personnel who lost their lives. The puja commenced on the 12th of this month upon the exhortation of Chief Prelate of the Venerable Dr. Madhuroya Dhammisarathera and was organized by the Lanka Jatika Sangha Sabha. Tomorrow will be the final day of the puja.
And that's all the stories we have for you tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.